So, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Monday morning, and I like to think of Mondays as Mindset Monday. In my Very Thoughtful World, I am Kenesha Berry with VeryThoughtfulLife.com. Listen, if you have not watched Kurt Franklin's story, Father's Day, I think is what he's called it, story. It's on YouTube. Please go and watch it. Um, Kirk Franklin, as many of you probably already know, is a gospel artist. And we tend to look at people from the outside and think because they are famous or they have all the things that life is great. But he has often shared his struggle with growing up without parents, without knowing his father, not having a relationship and a connection with his mother, and being adopted and what that means. The thing that a few things stood out for me watching his video. I mean, it was definitely heart wrenching. But one of the things that really stood out to me was how something he said, and I actually wrote it down. He says, I did not have you. He was talking to the man he thought was his father. He says, I did not have you to tell me who I was. I have always been, and because of that, I have always been the most insecure man in the room. And he was sharing with again, the man he originally thought was his father, how the world sees him as this Grammy winner, this great person as far as his music is concerned, and he's done a lot to change people's lives. But inside, he struggled with a deep insecurity simply because he did not have his father to tell him who he was. That was heart wrenching to me to hear him share that story simply because many of us grew up without our dads in our life. Now, some of us, like I grew up with a single mom, but I grew up knowing my father. I grew up with my dad speaking life into me, sharing with me. There was definitely parts of me who thought and believed there was things missing. But being able to call and ask the questions and get older and challenge what I thought and have those things thoughts changed a lot for me. And the reason I really wanted to talk about this is because so many of our young men are growing up without dads. And we never stop and talk about who are these brothers being because they don't know who they are? Who are they mimicking because of what they see? And it's just it's so much, like I have so many notes and there's so much I want to say. But what we have to understand is Kurt was lied to all his life. I don't know if his mom was so disassociated from the truth that she for a while couldn't even, like, science wasn't enough for her to be convinced that she was lying. And we've had that happen in our society with the whole COVID thing. Like, people would rather believe a lie than believe science. And so we have to wonder and think, how are lies affecting us, changing our who we are, absolutely changing the structure of who we are to be because of a lie that's been told. I wrote down, what lies do people, kids hear that is destroying them? What words are deceiving them? Because there is power in words. And so I want you to be more intentional or conscious, one, of the things you say and do, but two, also, what are the words that you're eating? What things are you allowing into your mind space, into your heart space? Words that are being said, maybe intentionally, unintentionally, that are beginning to mold who you are becoming. I always think of, like, the Bible when it says we was created in God's image, but oftentimes we've been shaped by the things that has happened to us. Kirk used the word, he felt rejection and abandoned, often because of the issues of growing up without his parents. Have you thought about what deep wound? So rejection and abandonment is what is called a soul wound. A soul wound is a deep thought or belief about ourselves that is not aligned with who God has called us to be. So I'm asking you, what deep soul wound do you carry, do you bear, because of what's been said to you, done to you, the things that you've been believe about yourself because of limited knowledge, false information, because of lies, because of deceit? What do you believe about yourself because of those things? It's when I say there's so much I want to say about this book, I mean, about this video, I don't even know where to start. I think I'm going to do another video where I write down more thoughtfully what it is I want to convey. But another one thing he said that stood out to me is he says, I would give up every trophy that I've won just to be someone's son. And I want people to start being conscious of the language and the words they use towards their children. This may seem like a pub, like a bad opportunity to pump a book, but every opportunity to me is a reason to share with people the importance of affirming our children. I mean, if we don't see it anywhere, watching Kirk Franklin's story as a young Black man and realizing that his greatest hurt, his greatest pain, his greatest disappointment was because he did not have his father's words in his heart and in his mind to affirm for him that he was great, that he was an awesome musician, that he was wonderful, that he was wanted. It shaped this man, it broke him. It made him, even at 50, he said, walk around feeling like the 10-year-old, the insecure 10-year-old when he's dealing with adults. How many of us are oftentimes walking around feeling broken, feeling like the little us, the small us, because we haven't been affirmed? I want you to get this book. If you have a son, or if you are the auntie, the cousin, the friend, the church member, the church leader, the teacher, particularly today, I'm thinking about the African American little boy. I'm thinking about the little boy that Kirk Franklin was. And I think about, like, maybe if there was a man in his life that could have read him some of the affirmations from this book, that would have told him he is incredibly exquisite, that you are incredibly exquisite, asking questions all the time. I celebrate your intelligence. You have a brilliant mind. If he had someone to say to him that you are smart and successful, you are handsome and smart, that's easy to see. Prosperity and success is a part of your destiny. Would it have shaped, would it have meant more to have at least had a man in his life and in his world to say to him that he was a leader? You are a lofty leader, strategic in all you do. Your voice is your power. Make them listen to you. How many times have our young boys not being listened to, not being affirmed, because we, we being the world, people around them, speak only negativity, say things that don't uphold them, don't uplift them, don't tell them that they can be fearfully and fearless, where they can, you are fearfully fearless, committed to being brave, set your mind to greatness, no need to be afraid. Listen, after listening to Kirk Franklin's story, if you have young boys in your life, please get this book. Get a man who loves them, who knows them, who is strong in his own way. Or maybe you buy it for the man that's already in your life, the adult man who, that little boy inside of him still needs to be affirmed. I'm not selling this book just to like make money. I'm selling this book to make a difference. I know the power of words. And if you watch the Kirk Franklin video, you will see that all this young man wanted, all he needed, all he desired as a little boy was to be spoken to. When he said to his dad, I wrote this down and I'm saying it again. He said to the man he thought was his dad, when the world is telling me I'm a Grammy winner, I'm successful, I've done all these things, he says, I did not have you to tell me who I was. And because of that, I've always felt like the most insecure man in the room. Listen, let's give our children the opportunity to feel secure in the room, because they begin to hear powerful, affirming words about themselves. I think Kirk's story is a story we can all learn from. I think it's one that as an adult, we can look within and maybe decide for ourselves if our parents are no longer available to us, whether they are physically not here because they passed on, or they're just emotionally unavailable, because that happens sometimes. If they're not here to affirm you, to tell you the things you need to hear, get these books and begin to affirm yourself. That little girl, that little boy inside of you needs someone to speak good, loving, healthy, powerful, positive words to them. And you can do that by reading these books to yourself out loud. But listen when you come outside of yourself. Do it for another little kid, a little boy, a little girl that you already know maybe don't have their dad in their life, that you deeply know they need to hear this. But I'm begging, like if there's someone watching this, one, share the video out. Two, if there is a man in your life that you perceive as strong and intelligent, will you get this book and invite him to read it to a group of young boys who just need to hear these words from a man? As women, as moms, there's a lot we can do. But listen, I've been blessed to have two sons. DeMarcus is my bonus son, and then Bryson is my birth son. When I tell you that those gentlemen, I wouldn't call them boys. My sons are 21 and 33. I think DeMarcus is 33. I keep mixing up 33 and 32. They call their dad. They call their dad to ask questions about being men and dad, what should I do? And Bryson and I talk all the time, but there are just moments when he's like, I need to talk to my dad. He has to call his father to understand himself from a man's perspective, to know how to deal with life, to deal with women, to deal with the struggles of just being a man. I'm grateful that they have Andre. But I know that there's some young brothers who don't have that. So will you be that for them? Will you give this book to some men at your church and bring in a group of boys and have these words read to them from a man's heart to a man's heart? Because I promise you something different will happen. We want all the little Kirk Franklins in this world to be healed and to know that they are meant to be here and to be able to feel it. You know, Kirk has a relationship with God. Imagine the boys who don't have a relationship with God, who don't even know to pray so that God can come and try to feel, not try, but feel those void spaces, knowing that still because we're here on earth, there's going to still be that feeling of void, of rejection, of abandonment. But God will come in and whisper, you are accepted. You are loved. I see you. You're not abandoned. I am always with you. But listen, the human part of us, we need the physical human being to be that and do that. So again, the link is available if you would go down. I don't know where you're watching this, on Facebook or YouTube. There's the link to get these books. The ABCs that celebrate me. These books are about affirming our children, and they're for all children. So please go get the book. Please lift up a little boy or a little girl today. Have a wonderful, amazing day. Thank you for watching.